Hello, Rebecca. Welcome to Dear Valdo. I understand you have a dating question.
Yes, I have been dating a man named John off and on for the last 2 years. And he's just recently out of a marriage, not so recent, maybe about 4 or 5 years now. And I feel like we're having a hard time committing. We're having a hard time making the decision that we're ready to be each other's life partners.
I'm hearing we. Is that a both of you searching for if you are a match, or is it just and you want him to commit?
Well, I can't say I'm 100% sure. Um, But there are some specific things about the relationship that I think are holding him back from committing. And sometimes I think that I might be wasting my time because sometimes I
Hmm.
think he might just never be ready.
How often do you see each other? How much time do you spend together?
That's a good question. We live 2 hours away from each other.
Hmm.
So we tend to see each other. I'll go to his house and I'll spend a week because I work remotely. I can take my computer with me and I'll spend a week with him. And then we may not see each other for 2 or 3 weeks. And then
Hmm.
he may come visit me, but because of his work and his dog, he can only come for a few days at a time. So if he gets really busy, sometimes we can go for 2 or 3 weeks without seeing each other.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Do you miss him during those times?
I do. I find that when we're together, I have a hard time relaxing into the relationship because there's all these questions and doubts about whether
Yeah.
it's going to work out or not.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much I miss him because I miss him, but I also have anxiety. I think I have
Mm.
like a lot of desire for the relationship to be somewhere that it's not, to be at a place that it's not at. And I want to spend time with him and work on the relationship, but I have so much anxiety about, is it working out? Are we happy? Is this as good as it gets? Is this the right person for me? Is he over his marriage? Is he ready to commit? One of the issues that we've had is that I find him to be very controlling. So I think he's gotten used to living alone. And when I'm in
Mhm.
his space, I feel like he's very controlling about how everything is done, how the dishes are washed, how the food is cooked, and what we eat, and how we hang the clothes on the line. And everything is very sort of regimented. And I'm a much more go with the flow type of person. And so when I'm in his space and I'm trying to feel comfortable and I'm trying to just do things that have to get done, but I feel like he's sort of micromanaging it. So that's one of the
Mhm.
things that I'll bring up. And it does upset him because he feels like um, he doesn't really see his behavior. He doesn't see that he's doing that. And
Mhm.
so he feels I'm being overly sensitive.
So
Yeah.
how is he in regard to that micromanagement when he visits you in your house?
I feel like he's a lot better, but he has like very precise ways, like how to make a like a cup of coffee, how much exact amount of coffee you put per cup of water. Like, I feel like he comes to my house, but often finds like the bed is not comfortable because it doesn't feel just like his back at home. And the coffee there's a lack of flexibility at this stage for him.
Mm. How much of that worry that he would be a micromanager is influencing your own not being sure?
I think a lot because the way it plays out with him when he'll say, "Oh, I don't, you brought in the clothes, but they still feel damp to me. But they didn't feel damp to me, but they feel damp to him." It starts to
Mm.
erode away my feeling of confidence.
Yeah.
I
And
don't think that's very attractive when you don't feel confident.
it seems very woven into the fabric of everything that the two of you do together.
It's pretty constant. It's
Yeah.
it happens at least 2 or 3 times a day. some incident
Hmm.
where I'm being sort of micromanaged or controlled or told what to do, or that I'm not doing it right, that I should do it differently. I I wonder sometimes if it's another way that he's sort of pushing me away. Like, I want to be in
Hmm.
a relationship with you, but actually no. Like, but actually that
Hmm.
doesn't feel good to have you like folding my clothes because that's not how I like them folded. Or it just feels like a pushback. And then I sort of wonder, I start to question, what am I doing here? I don't want to bail
Hmm.
on this relationship. I like this person. I love this person. He loves me. We appreciate each other. We have a lot in common. We have a lot of compatibility in many ways. Um, and I think we're also just in different stages where I'm really ready to commit. And I
Hmm.
feel like he's just not quite there yet.
If he is indeed a micromanager, like you somehow worry about, this is something that is likely going to increase if the two of you commit more together and start living together. Imagine that this is the case. Would that be livable for you?
No, no, I can't live like that because it makes me self-conscious all the time.
Have you been in relationships before in which that behavior was present?
No, actually, I haven't. It's funny. Every
Hmm.
relationship presents its own challenges. Sometimes I get so discouraged, I start thinking I should just end this relationship.
Yeah.
Should I, because otherwise another 6 months could go by, another year could go by where we're still not committing and we're not moving forward.
When I work with a couple, there are three
Mhm.
things I look at. There is aliveness, there is partnership, and there is passion.
A little bit of the passion is a little lacking. He has a little
Hmm.
bit of a melancholic energy to him that makes
Okay.
it feel like a little underwhelming
Okay.
sometimes. And especially compared to my energy, which is pretty enthusiastic. And
Hmm.
then the other category, I can't remember which it was, the one that you called
Aliveness.
aliveness. Yeah. That's where I say I have this sense that I'm not sure he's gotten over his divorce because there's a part of him that I feel like is sort of stuck, and
Hmm.
can't get excited about a future and moving forward with me.
Yeah.
Sort of
Yeah.
in his,
Have you shared that with him?
yes, I've shared it to him in letters and conversations. We've broken up over it. We've come back together. He's tried to, he's told me he's feels like he's moving through it. I still feel like we're kind of wading through it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
What is his level of awareness of it? Is he aware that he somehow, according to your words, micromanages you on a regular basis?
I don't think he is aware of it because when I bring it to his attention, if it's just once and I bring it to his attention, he may be okay. But if it happens like 2 or 3 times and I have to bring it to his attention 2 or 3 times, he gets exasperated. When I asked him to reflect on what he thought he contributed to the marriage not working out, it was really hard for him to reflect on that.
Big picture, more and more women in their 50s and 60s free themselves from society, from roles, from this, from that, and more want to be themselves, want to have autonomy, want to be able to be in their masculine when they choose, in their feminine when they choose.
Mhm.
And strangely, only a certain percentage of the men somehow follow that trend. So there
Mm.
are men who indeed become more flexible, more willing to just be in the present moment. And there are some who choose not to do the work. Women believe that they can change men. first. And not only that, but they believe that you change a man by telling him what is wrong.
Hmm.
And so that is not true. But unless a man take responsibility, there is not much you can do.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I knew that he could take responsibility for it, I could probably put up with some degree of
Ex-
it if I knew that he could see it, if I could point it out to him when it was over the top and say, hey, that's just a little too much, and or I really
exact
need you to let me cook this without you're telling me what temperature to put the oven at, those kinds of things.
The last thing I want for you is for you to do nothing and then be 73% in and remain 73% in as you start, getting together, and then maybe you get married and then you're still 73% in and you don't know for sure.
Yeah.
There is a place where it's either or, because saying no could be the best thing for your love life.
I know. I'm aware of that, and I don't want to force it. If it's not right, it's not right, and it's hard to know.
Yeah. So it is hard to know. And our longing for our partner and the pain of dating and the grief when it doesn't work and all of those things make that we don't fully show up to test. So this is why I'm inviting you, show up fully and conduct experiments over the next month, 2 months, 3 months, however long it is. And then you are sure that either he can take responsibility and then let's marry him, or he can't and you'd be happier with ending the relationship.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm intentionally very black and white right now because of that longing, but, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so great. It's so great, except that, but, yeah.
Very likely you take way too much on yourself because of this potential hope here and hope there.
Hmm.
So there is no perfect man, there is no perfect husband. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the value of being appreciated, in which you can have your flow, you can have your freedom, in which you don't have that regular micromanagement, may be paramount to you, and you may not pay as much attention to it as I believe you should.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You're totally right. It's all the many disappointments we've had along the way get to a point where we become sort of less firm in our less
Mhm.
clear in our needs and our
Yeah.
desires.
Yeah. And so maybe this is not about whether he has grieved his wife or not. Maybe this is about your own grief
Hmm.
with the difficulty of dating, whether he's the right person or not.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm. So, very interestingly, we started with you taking too much on you, and I'm putting it back on you. But from an
Hmm.
empowerment point of view, who are you? What do you want? How do you show up?
You're asking me, how do
No,
I show?
I'm, that's what I'm inviting you to.
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah. So before you establish your space in his life, make sure that this is the right choice for you.
Yes, definitely. I often forget that. I often
Yeah,
forget that. Mhm.
exactly.
I do.
Exactly.
I
Yeah, I
think
know.
I shift a lot of my thinking over to, does he like me? Is there something I'm doing wrong? Is there a reason why he's not more um I don't know, interested in me or enthusiastic about the
Yep.
relationship? Is there something that I should be doing differently?
Yeah. So now we're talking.
Hmm.
Yeah. There are two ways to deal with it. One way is through therapy. I am not a trained therapist intentionally. I'm a coach because I do not want to look at problems when they were created. I want to look at the future, get clarity about what we want, and then find ways to get there.
Okay.
So this is why my invitation to you is to basically create the situation in which you can basically decide whether or not this is the future you want.
Okay.
So it is not an either or. I recommend in parallel you talk with your therapist about what you just laid out to me. Why do I take it personally?
Hmm.
And you'll see the video of our recording. Your voice gets a lot smaller
Hmm.
when you have those doubts. It's really interesting. And my hunch is that at work you really kick ass, and you have a loud voice, and here your voice becomes very small, almost single digit percentage compared to how I can imagine your normal empowered voice would be.
Yeah, I would say that when I met John, everything on paper looked so great. It looked like such a great match for the two of us.
Yeah,
But I spend a lot of my time stressed out about it and not sure how to proceed or not
yeah.
sure how to talk to him about the issues and just it's challenging as you get older and you've dated and sometimes you can date, multiple people and on,
Hmm.
10, 12 people before you meet someone who you
Yeah.
feel like you have enough in common with that you want to pursue getting to know them better.
And this is not about him, this is about you, about your inner strength.
Mhm. Mhm.
It does not really matter whether John is the right person or not. What
Mhm.
does matter is for you to gain strength and confidence about what it is that you want and what are your inner somehow demons or patterns of somehow selling yourself short.
Yes,
Yep.
that's perfect. That is what I want for myself too.
Cool. And so it may be John, it may be another man. And
Mhm.
whatever you do, the work with John will either serve the two of you together or will serve you with the next man you're dating.
Mhm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So please keep me updated. I've really enjoyed our time together and would love to know what future you'll create.
I will. I'll keep in touch.